What's up, Raging Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and I got a review for you. Last night, I watched Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Predacon Rising, the all-new movie. Yes, I finally watched it. I know it took a very long time, and this is not really an all-new movie considering it came out quite a while ago, but I finally watched it last night, and I'm going to review it for you guys in this video. Over the last couple of months, I watched Season 1 on DVD, Season 2 on DVD, and then Season 3 Beast Hunters on Blu-ray, finally. And I know that these came out a long time ago, but I like to watch them when they're on home video release, like Blu-ray or DVD, mainly because I like to binge watch. I don't like to just wait like every Wednesday or Tuesday or Monday and then I have to wait a whole week with commercials or whatever. I just like to watch them all at once over the course of a couple of days. Anyways, so I finally watched Predacon Rising, and it concludes the saga, and I gotta tell you that, okay, now this is a very bold statement, but I feel that Transformers Prime, the entire saga, including Beast Hunters, is awesome. I mean, it's even better than G1. I know a lot of people who grew up with G1 will tell me, no, G1 is the best. Well, actually, I personally feel that Transformers Prime is awesome, mainly because it takes the best elements of G1, which is the characters, and it combines it with the awesome visuals and action of the Transformers movies. First of all, the executive producers for Transformers Prime and Beast Hunters is Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, who are the writers for the first two Transformers films. So you can see where the inspiration comes from. And to top things off, they have like an all-new story. So it basically takes everything that we loved about both the Transformers movie and G1 and combines it and brings in a fresh new element. And that's why I think Transformers Prime is actually better than G1. G1 is still awesome, mainly because we have nothing to compare it to. G1 at the time when it came out was the only thing, and it was the best thing. So as a kid, you will think that's totally awesome, but now that Transformers Prime is out, it takes the awesome aspect of G1 and really totally ups it to a whole other level. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to give you my review of Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Predacon Rising, and here we go. First of all, it continues where Transformers, the last episode of Transformers Prime Beast Hunters leaves off. A lot of things happen. A lot of very significant things happen. For example, Optimus Prime gets his upgrade. Bumblebee gets his speech back. Megatron is dead. Ratchet stays on Earth, and the Transformers, or rather the Autobots, leave Cybertron with the intention to rebuild it again. Okay? So that's where you leave off, okay? Now comes Predacon Rising, and it's a feature-length, or rather, not a feature-length, but an hour-long, it's basically a long episode. It's an hour-long episode, okay? So right away, when you think of the subtitle being Predacon Rising, you think of something pretty epic. I mean, anything rising, whether it be Unicron Rising, Decepticon Rising, Megatron Rising, Galvatron Rising, it doesn't matter. Anything with that kind of rising subtitle sounds epic. Sounds like, you know, the Autobots are up against like really ridiculous odds. Well, I'll get into that in just a second. Alright, so what happens is that Bumblebee is kind of like not really a leader, but an unlikely leader. Alright, he's not actually the leader. He says he's a scout, but you can see that he's leading the Autobots, which is very, very interesting. One thing about all the characters is that, well, at least not all the characters, but half the characters, is that they have some sort of significance, with the exception of, I guess, Bulkhead, RC, and Ratchet. They don't really have a whole lot of changes done to them. And we've seen RC, Ratchet, and Bulkhead throughout the entire seasons 1, 2, and 3. So not a whole lot of significant things happen to them. It's almost like the writers felt that they were done making any developments for their characters, so they're really all the same. What's very interesting is that I didn't expect to see Ratchet back. Alright, I thought Ratchet's gonna stay on Earth but then he gets called upon, and then he's on Cybertron joining the rest of the Autobots, which I thought was very unexpected, but I also felt that was a little bit unnecessary, because I thought it would actually help the story if Ratchet stayed on Earth, because a lot of his best moments is actually when he's bickering with the humans. So bringing him back felt kind of a little bit odd to me. Smokescreen has a pretty... no, I wouldn't say significant role, but a pretty decent role in the movie, because you see more of him. You see how he, how there's no defiance going on. There used to be a lot of defiance going on, especially in Season 3, but there's not a whole lot of that going on, which I find is a really new development for the Autobots, because a lot of them like to go off and do their own thing. Well, now that, you know, the Decepticon threat is gone, at least they believe it's gone, they're at a same level of, I guess, independence. All right, so they all believe in one another. They don't doubt any of each other, right? So that's something I felt was a very significant change in the characters. Okay, Ultra Magnus gets owned at the beginning of the movie. Okay, we don't see a whole lot of him. He's pretty much out of commission for a good 3/4 of the movie, and that is pretty unfortunate, because Ultra Magnus can prove to be a pretty badass. Wheeljack doesn't do a whole lot except for navigate a ship, so it's, you know, you gotta wonder who is really the focus of this movie. All right, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's Optimus Prime, even, mainly because Optimus Prime is off flying into asteroid fields. So in a way, you see a bit of a theme going on here, where Optimus Prime just seems to be missing in action. All right, so that theme also recurs again. So who is the focus on, really? Okay, well, I gotta say that, you know, Hasbro kind of knew what they were planning to do with the next series, Robots in Disguise. Therefore, there's more of an emphasis on Bumblebee. He can speak now. The audience wants to see him speak more. Therefore, they give him more screen time as a speaking Autobot. All right, that's something I felt was pretty significant. Let's talk about the bad guys, the villains. Well, this kind of was very interesting, because they decided to bring back Megatron with the help of Unicron. Okay, it's almost like the 1986 movie, An Age of Extinction, where they bring back Megatron, all right? But he's not Galvatron, all right? In 1986 movie, Unicron brings him back as Galvatron. In Age of Extinction, they bring back Megatron as Megatron again, but an upgraded version of Megatron. Well, it's kind of a blend of the two, where Unicron brings back Megatron, but he's not Galvatron. He's Megatron, like reincarnated. And Unicron has control of Megatron, which is quite an homage to the 1986 movie, and he's quite powerful. He can materialize these arm weapons, which is pretty awesome. Knockout still proves to be my favorite Decepticon. I really like him in Transformers Prime. He's got a lot of really great lines. Starscream is Starscream. He's working together with Shockwave to bring up a Predacon army, and we get introduced to 2 new Predacons. We get to see Predaking, and then we see 2 new Predacons, Darksteel and Skylynx, which came out of nowhere, but I think that their characters are pretty weak. I don't mean physically weak, but I can't really tell them apart, and they don't really do a whole lot in the movie. Like, they're really strong, and I find that is what makes their characters weak. They're too strong, because whenever they shoot, the Autobots shoot at them, the bullets just deflect off them like nothing, which means that the Autobot weapons are pretty much useless, okay? Now, this brings me to the part where I gotta talk about the title again. I have to go back to talking about the title, Predacon Rising. Okay, as for Predacons, you get Predaking, you got Skylynx, you got, what's the other guy named? Darksteel, which I can't tell apart. And then you have all these zombie Predacons, which Megatron makes rise with the Dark Energon, or he finds some ways to reincarnate them. But, you know what? None of that actually happens until the 3rd act of the movie. Okay? Like, we don't actually see a Predacon army rise until the very end of the movie. And then when it's time to fight them all, it happens so quickly. Okay? Optimus Prime comes, he starts doing some fighting with them, and then they're wiped out really abruptly. Okay, and I find that I'll be completely honest. I thought that Predacon Rising, I had higher expectations for Predacon Rising, but it actually was a little bit of a lackluster to me. It was a little bit of a disappointment. I didn't find that Predacon Rising should have been a 1 hour movie. I felt that it should have been a 2 hour movie, or at least an extension of Season 3. I didn't think that Predacon Rising was actually needed. I thought that they could add this to Season 3 Beast Hunters. That way there are a few more episodes before it ended. Alright? Because I felt that it felt very, very rushed. It just felt like there were some parts here, there were some parts here, and there were some scenes here, but a lot of it wasn't actually focused on any one character. It mainly focused a lot on the whole Megatron fiasco, but not a whole lot on the Autobots. And oh, get this, Optimus Prime sacrifices himself at the end, and it was very, very, it didn't mean a whole lot to me, okay? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to give this as like a 5.5 out of 10, mainly because, like I said, it felt rushed. There was no actual focus on any one character. It felt like a Decepticon story. There was nothing heroic really going on. There's not a whole lot of significant changes that were made to the Autobots. If anything, it was focused on Bumblebee, which we've seen a lot of. Optimus Prime isn't really there until the end of the movie. He's mainly surfing around with Wheeljack in the asteroid fields, which really proved nothing. Like, what purpose did it serve going out there? You know, it wasn't so much that there was a lack of action. There was just a lack of developments going on. Smokescreen, he just does his thing. Ultra Magnus is out of commission. Bulkhead, RC, and Ratchet are really the same characters since they were from the very beginning. And you know what? I'll be completely honest. I feel that the reason why Predacon Rising felt lacking was because of the lack of humans. We're so used to seeing the humans in all 3 seasons that they really provided a very unique dynamic to the movie. I mean, to the series rather. To every episode, there was actually the perfect blend of humans and robot interaction. And when you lose that completely and just make it focus on Cybertron, it feels very tough to connect with, because I don't see the real threat here. I don't see the real danger. I don't see why, you know, a lot of these Autobots and Decepticons are really unstoppable. You can't really kill them, even though we've seen some of them die. But still, like, they're pretty unstoppable, and I don't see an actual threat here. Alright? So, finally, I want to conclude with saying that I believe that a story that takes place entirely on Cybertron, which is something that the fans want for a live-action film, I don't think it'll work. Alright? I actually believe that you'll get the best story out of a story that takes place on Earth with humans. And in other words, the next live-action films, or the live-action films to come, have to have humans, and it has to take place on Earth. Alright? I'm just saying that because look what happened. The fans asked for a no-humans, Cybertron-only story, and look at what we ended up getting. This is my opinion, of course, okay? But I felt that having humans serves a purpose. Having it takes place on Earth really brings back the concept of robots in disguise. G1's main concept is, of course, robots in disguise. Morton meets the Eye. Predacon Rising takes away from that. Alright, there's no longer Morty meets the Eye. There's no longer robots in disguise. They're in Cybertron. There's no need to disguise themselves. Alright? So that's what I have to say about this movie. It was a little bit disappointing to me. I felt that Season 3 is the best season in Transformers Prime, but Predacon Rising was a pretty weak way to end it. Okay, to conclude it. And there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this video. Season 3 is the best. But anyways, I'm actually glad that I watched it at least, because I'll know how they left off when Robots in Disguise happens. So I'm very much looking forward to Robots in Disguise when it comes out in May. All right, regardless of how funny the animation looks. And that's all I gotta say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Raging Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @RagingNation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Inferno. Okay? Prowl is a police car. We've seen a police car in Transformers and